And we are back. Welcome to the show. I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm just Terryl. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, guess what? We are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the regular guys, random thoughts, Married at First Sight, season 14, Boston recap. So close to being done with this damn show.
You know, here's the thing. I almost feel like you. You say so close. It's episode 16, and then they insert episode 16.5. I don't care about these people who've been on the show before about this show. We already know nobody's going to make it out of this damn show together. So we don't need to waste a whole nother week for Decision Day. Let's just get to Decision Day next week. How about that?
So does that mean we're not recapping next Wednesday? Do I have the night off?
You know, that's a real question because, I mean, what are we going to really talk about besides everybody else talking about what they saw on this show? So I'll tell you what, let's leave it up to everybody else. You tell us below. Do you need us to recap the countdown to Decision Day? It's a foolish episode. It shouldn't even be there. But if you guys want us to do it, we'll do it. As a matter of fact, there's something else we got to tell you about that we are going to do. And we'll tell you after we get through recapping episode 16. Now, for those of you new to the show, understand, Terrell's really not a fan, and that's why he was so excited about, do you mean to tell me we don't have to do next week? Because he's not a fan of reality TV. However, sometime in his past, he made a deal with the devil, said he'd never watched The Bachelor until they had a Black Bachelor. Pandemic hits, ABC says, hey, meet our pal Matt James. We've had him in the back for a long time. Now he's going to come to the forefront. He's going to be the first Black Bachelor, and Terrell was stuck watching the show. So therefore, me being the good friend that I am, I watched it along with him. And then in return, because he is such a good friend too. See how I did that for you? You see how I did that for you? Okay, good.
Finally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's episode 16. I might as well do it now. He decided to watch one of our favorite shows, Married at First Sight. We watched season 13. Halfway through that one, he goes, you know what? Look, if Gil and Merla make it, then we'll do season 14. And guess what? Decision Day rolled around. They made it. And here we are doing season 14.
And the next day, they ended it.
It
right
doesn't matter. They made
day.
it to Decision Day.
Bullshit.
They said yes.
True. Fine.
And matter of fact, Gil is actually back in the countdown to Decision Day next week. So I mean,
by himself.
Yeah, obviously. Merlin's definitely not with him.
Smoke by myself, drink by myself.
Do the countdown by my goddamn self.
For real. By my goddamn self.
Oh my God. You know, I think that's how all these couples are going to end up by themselves, by their damn selves. But, you know, let's go ahead and start from probably the least interesting couple ever in the history of Married at First Sight, Jasmina and Michael.
So I still stand what I've been saying, and I think what a lot of people have been saying in the comments. Mm-hmm. Jasmina is not attracted to him. There was nothing that was going to happen these last few days that, the spark is going to be there. She has said it to his face multiple times that the spark is not there. I think he knows it. He's just like, well, let me get this check and go through the motions. But I think he knows that it's going to be a no on Decision Day. But it's just sad watching them because you're just like, y'all are so boring. Yeah. And there's so many things about them that could work if they got out of their own head. But it's just terrible to watch them too.
Jasmina is lying to herself and to Michael. She's definitely not lying to us because we all see it. You know, you see it, I see it, and everybody who watches this recap, everybody who watches the show sees it. She does
Stevie
not
Wonder sees
like him at all. At all. She says on the last night before they leave, the day before Decision Day, well, you know, I don't know if the spark will come. You've had 8 weeks. You've got less than 24 hours. It's not there. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, it looked fun when they went dancing to learn to dance. And the only thing I thought about was Jasmina's learning to dance with her next husband. That's all. Mm-hmm. She's not learning to dance for Michael. She's learning to dance for her next husband. The one that's going to give her a baby, the twins, in a year and a half. Yes.
And I bet Michael's going to teach them the routine. Hey, man, it's good to meet you.
Let me show you something.
I'm Michael. I was on the show with Jasmina. So here's the dance. It's the samba. Here's what you're going to do.
Here's the funny thing. Michael says, you know, because if this doesn't work, I don't know how long it will be before I find someone else again. No, you know, because we know, because we watched the episode. The psychic told you 5 years.
5.
Exactly.
5.
You already know.
It's just terrible. And what I noticed is there was no goodbye kiss. Nothing. It'd be one thing. Like, imagine that ending of today's episode where she's leaving, decides, well, it's been 8 weeks, let me give him a kiss. And all of a sudden the spark hits.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, I can't leave just yet. Closes the door. That would have been a great ending to that story.
That would have been a great way to write that. They didn't write it that way. Instead, you got to see Michael do what he does. They're sitting on the bed, they're talking, or it was the bed or the couch, whatever the hell it was. They were sitting close to each other, within closer proximity than they both cared to be. And, it looked like they were about to have a moment. And all he had to do was turn to the side. And I don't know, maybe he just turned to the side and the breath hit him, as you like to mention about Jasmina. But instead of even looking at her, he just kind of dropped his head and I went, you know what? That's what the women in the comments have been talking about. The fact that he doesn't know how to make the move and he has no initiative to make this work. That's why she doesn't give two shits. We've given her a hard time. And there are women who've come up in the comments and said, you know what? A lot of it is on him because he's just not being the man he needs to be, which is what I said from the very beginning. So again, I was right.
You were right. You're right. It's not
Wait,
often
say that again, please. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear
you. Can record it. You can record it, and then you can just dub it in at some point. And anytime you want, in any video we do, I just pop it wearing different clothes. You were right.
Just want to hear it again.
But I think we agreed. I think we both agreed that where this couple is, I see why the experts put them together. I think they had a lot of opportunity. Mm-hmm. They blew it. And Michael has his issues. Jasmina's just not attracted to him. And that's it. I don't know how much of a deeper connection you have to have with somebody to even kiss them after 8 weeks of living together. And what do you want him to say? What part of his soul does he need to bear for you to be like, okay, now I get wet?
Well, okay, let's be honest. I told you when she walked down the aisle, she saw him, she was like, oh, because he was too short for her, right? Mm-hmm. She kissed him at the altar, which I was surprised. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong here.
Peck.
Well,
peck.
Regardless, that peck fizzled everything else out. She dried up immediately, and it was over.
And we're using her words. So, Mom, I'm not being perverted. She said these things. We're just repeating back what she said in the show. So,
now, Terryl, why would you have to say that? Because, I'm just saying. That's just crap.
Because she's a fast-ass heifer. Mom, you want me to be with her anyway?
Well, she's moving at a slow-ass pace.
Yeah.
Another couple whose storyline has not changed throughout this entire thing. And I had high hopes for this couple at the very beginning. And then the wife just became very annoying. You know exactly who we're talking about. Noi and Steve.
Yeah. I was rolling with them up until Pastagate. At Pastagate, that's when I was like, what in the world is going on? And then you started to see, and I think they do this on this show where you'll see a couple, like, everything's great.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, now they're the bad ones, right? Yep. And I think between those two, we've all agreed that she has some maturity issues, but we still keep coming back to the same thing. Now, I believe that through the editing, it makes it seem like they've never had a conversation about how much money he has.
Right.
And everybody always comments and tries to say, what if he has this? We don't know that. But they've never really discussed it. What I'm hoping is that Noi says, no, I don't want to get married. And then Steve is like, well, great. I got $750,000 saved up in the bank. And I got some other projects I'm working on that's generating revenue. So cool. I'll find someone else. And then she's going to be like, what?
And this $15,000 ring I bought you, I'm taking it back.
Yeah. She still feels like he can't afford to take care of her and 3 kids. And so whatever's going on, I think that behind the scenes, Steve has told her where he's at financially.
Yeah.
And Noi's either playing this game like she doesn't know, but she just keeps harping on the fact of, you're not working. What are you doing? And how does that equate to income? And he was talking about, I know you do all these different things, but how does that equate to income? Yeah.
I tell you what's so annoying, there's so many things annoying about Noi, and it just get more and more annoying every episode. In this one, let's stay on the financial part of it first. When she was saying that she needs a partner to contribute. Like, we didn't hear her say that she wants to work at home. with the kids. She wants to stay at home with the kids, not work at home. She wants to stay at home. So she doesn't want to work when they have kids. She wants to stay at home. Well, that's not contributing at all. So you don't need somebody to contribute. You need somebody to do it all. And the other thing about it is, when she goes, well, there he goes again, counting things to make sure it's 50-50. You don't want it to be 50-50. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to cook. You don't want to clean. You don't want to walk the dog. You don't want to give the dog a treat. And you don't want to work when y'all decide to have kids. So what are you talking about 50-50? You don't even want 80-20.
I'd have to disagree with you there, respectfully.
Okay. Go ahead.
Disagree. Because right now, she doesn't want to do those things because in her mind, Steve, you're at home. You're not working. Why should I do that? Because I'm working, actually bringing in money. You're not doing anything. Now, I think if she were to be a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids, would she cook? Would she clean a bathroom? Nope. Would she do these things?
She already said she wasn't going to do
would.
bathrooms. She already said she wasn't doing bathrooms.
But that's just what she said to Steve. I think if she's going to be a stay-at-home mom, she's going to do these things with the expectation that Steve is out working in Boston, having to make at least $500,000-$600,000 to take care of 3 kids and a wife. So he's going to be busy, so he won't be able to do it now unless he gets a maid service. I just think she would do those things if she knew that she didn't have to worry about money. Her biggest fear is that if something falls through the cracks, she doesn't have a job. She loses her apartment. She doesn't make much money, as she said. My guess is, as a talent acquisition coordinator in the Boston market, if she's really good, she could be 65, 70. Depending on the industry, but let's just say on average, she could be 65, 70 for a coordinator. That's pretty high. It's possible. But that's not enough for her to, have 1 kid.
Okay, let's be honest, though. Noi doesn't strike me as the person who's going to go, okay, I'm taking care of the 3 kids at home, and I'm going to do all the housework. She's going to then be, well, you need to do this too, and you need to do this, because I'm here with the kids, and you just have no idea how much work it is. Because you're out. You don't have to deal with them. You're going to work. That's what you wanted. I can see her doing that. And I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
it's I don't know if you're wrong, because I'm not there, but what I have seen, I have come across people who had the Noi-esque personas that once they finally had kids, all of a sudden, they're cutting up orange wedges and passing out Capri Suns, putting everybody in the van. They're doing this. They're making dinners. They're packing lunches. They do all that. So I've seen people do it who I never thought would do any of those things because of their whole persona, what they were like before they got married and had children. So it's possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. I could hit the lottery tomorrow. But also, at the same time, you've got the same immature woman wanting to live apart after decision day, which says to me, if I'm Steve, I'm going, so she's going to say no. Because there's no point that I get it. You've got PTSD from your last relationship that you moved to Boston for. Okay, that was on you. And we've known people to move across country and then things didn't work out, right? But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't give up you don't move in with your husband if you're going to stay together. If you're going to stay together and you're in the same town, there's no reason for y'all to have separate apartments. If you want to keep yours as a fail-safe, as a safety net for a quick 6 months, maybe one more rental cycle and make it another year, that's fine. You want to do that? Cool. But living separately? Why? What do you think? Oh, we're going to keep up the same energy? That's not going to happen like that. No. And you know that.
But you and I have said this on a previous show. Women do not move in with a man that does not have a job or can show you income, legal or illegal. Has to be some money coming in. Don't move in with a man with no job. Now, if Steve has money, residual income, maybe he sold a product and he has a check that comes every month, he needs to let her know that. But never move in with somebody that is not working.
So legal or illegal?
Especially a guy.
Show her a bank account statement or show her the money stuffed in the mattress. I got you.
Show her some stuff in the mattress. Show her something. But I'm telling you, you and I have said it, and I will tell women all the time, do not move in with a guy with no job, regardless of the situation. Well, COVID happened, and so, he's trying. Great. Once he finds something, then you can pack your shit and move in. And don't move a guy into your house with no job.
Yeah.
Because then what's going to happen when they get comfortable? They go put them crusty feet up on your coffee table, eating microwave popcorn. Babe, can you give me another beer out the fridge? And as you're sitting there at the dining room table working on your laptop, putting slide decks together.
Well, something else you probably shouldn't do, especially if you work in the health industry. And as we move on to Lindsey the Lohan and Mark the Shark, you shouldn't be in the health industry and not drink water. I mean, obviously we're finding this out about Mark right now. And well, technically he's not working in the industry, but at the same time, how do you work at a gym and not know you need to drink water? Because Lindsey definitely put him on blast when it came down to the start of this episode and that fertility test.
Well, when you're around Lindsey, he gets the panic sweats. And so maybe she just drains all the fluids out of him to where, he's always nervous, always on edge. And, I can't make her mad. I can't say this. And so he's always sweating. Maybe that's why he's dehydrated. It's Lindsey's fault. So watching the beginning, okay, the fertility test, I think Lindsey had a good point. She's like, we're both at the latter end of our ability to have kids. I need to see what this guy is working with.
Right.
I think that's great. I personally think that's something they could have did off camera.
Yeah.
And maybe just talked about it. I think she could have said, hey, it looks like glue. Like,
we didn't need to hear about his Elmer's sperm. We didn't need to hear that.
And I mean, I agree with Mark. If I'm having to do that, if I'm having to check, my swimmers into a cup, I don't want you there with me while I'm doing it. Let me just grab the phone, hit a couple sites, and I'll be done. But I don't want you in there because I feel like that's pressure.
No, he didn't want her in there because he doesn't like her. I mean, plain and simple. If he liked,
let me look at something that turns me on. What about me? Oh no, you cool, but I just need something else for this, for this deal.
If he liked her, that could have been a fun assignment. But he doesn't like her. He's not attracted to her, and it's one of those things. Like when I look at them, right? I think if we skip to the end of the episode, Lindsey's observation of Mark and the way she talked about he was all into her at the very beginning. She's talking to a friend and she's like, well, he was all into me at the very beginning. And all of a sudden he started pulling away. And men and women alike have been in this exact same situation where you meet somebody, everything's all good. And then they do something and you're like, ugh, no, not really. And you start to slowly back away. And then sometimes you take that quick exit left or you exit stage right. But either way, you get out of the way. The difference is here, they're stuck for 8 weeks. It's not like Alyssa and Chris where Chris is like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out. And I'll pay whatever we need to pay, but I don't need to do this anymore because I can't do this anymore. And he was smart to do that. Mark, who doesn't have the job at the moment, needs this income, is like, look, I'm going to stick this out for the 8 weeks, but this is not it. And we can see it clearly.
You think so?
I'm
with you, and we've said that a whole lot. But my gut is telling me that they're both going to say yes on decision day.
Remember they were my crazy ass sleeper couple that could say yes, and I can see that potentially happening. I think one of the things that we saw there in this episode was almost a liking for each other at some point, right? But then one of the things I did see, like Mark pours his heart out to Lindsey, and then Lindsey goes, well, you give me $500, I can really do something with this place here. He pours his heart out, which she's been waiting for, and then she just decides to go the other way. So I think what I'm reading off of this, and maybe it's just the editing and they're making this look this way so they throw us for a curve on decision day in 2 weeks. But the fact is, we see that he doesn't like her. That's why he stopped messing with her like that. Because he's like, you're batshit crazy. I don't need this in my life. He's scared of her, as you said, as you like to point out. He's scared of her. He doesn't like her. She is upset with him because she feels the energy that he's giving. And then he gets mad because she does.
Yeah. Well, I think what the problem that he has, and this could be where Lindsey's going. Lindsey, if you watch the show, call in. I'd love to pick your brain. But what I think is happening is that, like any man, when Mark is horny, all of a sudden he can turn the affection on. But then as soon as he's not, as soon as all the glue is out the bottle, then he's just very
nothing
distant.
sticks once the glue's out.
Once all the Elmer's is gone, there's nothing. You can't even add water in there and shake it up. It's not going to work.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that's mean. That's funny, though. Sorry.
It's mean but true.
Yeah.
And I totally get where you're coming from. When, because, he could turn it on for a quick second. Obviously, as she's pointed out, a quick second, and that's about it.
That's all you need.
The glue doesn't stick around long.
Hey, you get to the point when you're not in love.
Then there's that.
For him, it was medicinal.
Then we've got our favorite couple, Katina and Olajuwon, and I still can't believe that Olajuwon has the nerve to look down on anyone when he can't even use the correct tense in the only language that he speaks. And I just don't get it with this guy, man. If you're not willing to support your wife, then why are you even getting married in the first place? And it's not like he acts like he's accomplished all this stuff. And as we saw in the comments from last week's episode, a lot of people saying that, no, he didn't buy that house on his own. It's not like he went looking for that house. It was in the family. He took over the payments, so he given the house. However he got it. I think one of the things is like, and then wasn't he in college on a scholarship? Whether it was partial or full scholarship. Now, we found out this week Katina is working on her associates. We thought it was her bachelor's. It's her associates. But you can't knock somebody for starting on the college later in life. This is not the 1980s. It's not the 1990s where those of us that came up in that time were of that same mindset. You graduate high school, you go to college, you get a job, and you work for a company and you retire.
Yeah, the way he's looking at that is ridiculous. Now, here's what he has to also think about. If you want someone that's established in their career, women that are established in their career don't always have time to come home and cook you shit.
Yeah.
Because they're still working. They could be traveling. They're doing different things. You know what I mean? Unless you date a kindergarten teacher, and even then, she might not have the time to cook for you every day.
So you're saying he should have dated Jasmina? He should have married Jasmina?
I don't know. 'Cause I think Olajuwon, after watching them brush teeth tonight, he's passionate about hygiene, and so I don't know if she'll pass the sniff test, if you know what I mean. But for him to have this negative mindset and look down upon somebody just because you have a bachelor's, right? It's like, I don't think people should look down on people because they're not in the same situation as you are. And I've even said, like, I'll date a girl who works the front desk at the Marriott Courtyard. If you're happy doing what you can do and you're not in like crazy debt, yeah, I'll totally date you. You don't have to do what I do or make what I make. But he just looks at what she's thinking as such a negative. And then he's like, well, how are you going to go to school and have kids and have career? Now, there's a little bit of truth to that. Because if you are going to go to school when you're at a certain age, you got to have a plan. Right? It can't, when you're 18, it's like, I'm going to go to JUCO, see what happens. I'm going to take a semester off. But you start, Katina's what, upper 20s? You got to have a plan and say, here's my goal. I'm doing this, and here I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It can't just be something you're dabbling in. And I think that's what Olajuwon is looking from her is, here's my goal. Here's my plan. By this date, I'm going to be done. By this date, I'm going to have kids. And I think she changed her major from business to nursing. And I feel like he was more excited about the business major thought than he was excited about her being in nursing. Yeah,
Katina's 29. And the thing, though, with Olajuwon and everything that he's doing, here's the thing. He sat down with his BFF, Lindsey.
Coach.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Lindsey, yeah.
And they could have actually... he might have married her until I saw this episode because he's such a jackass that even Lindsey's telling him that he's a fool for his expectations, right? Like, the fact of he's like, well, she works from home. She can cook. And she's like, yeah, well, she's working. It doesn't mean she's just sitting at home. No, I see she's not at the computer all the time. And look, let me explain something to you. If you're in a conversation with Lindsey and she's the sane one, you're fucked up.
Yeah, it's true. But what Lindsey was telling him was right, that he needs to look at this differently. And the question is, can he? Now, it's been rumored that they both say yes. I don't know. I think Katina should it be with him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised. I think she is gonna say yes to him. No. But just his whole thought process. And then at the end when he was, you got to do what's best for you. You'll be selfish. Dude, because I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to do what's best for Olajuwon. I'm like, just stop trying to... He gets to be so, preachy. Yes. There's nothing more annoying than ignorant people trying to, act like they're spitting knowledge.
Very
and that's
true.
what he does. Then again, maybe people say that same thing about us, so...
DMX said it best. Better to be called dumb and remain silent than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Okay? Mm-hmm. And that's what Olajuwon does every time. I mean, we knew this from the very beginning of this season, that he liked to talk. He talked so much, and he always put his foot in his mouth, and it's just, we're seeing that. The one thing I get that we finally did get to see was him doing something for her. I mean, it was only a couple of roses, but he finally did something for her. And we saw
he did teach her how to, you forget, he taught her how to brush her teeth tonight, too. That was a growth moment. He taught her how to brush her teeth.
That's right, because he is her daddy, obviously.
Yeah.
That's all.
Make sure you get the bottom right. Then you get the top there. And now you got to go on to the other side. I'm just like, what is the deal?
One of the comments he made was that he went from a boy to a man during these 8 weeks, right? I'm not going to doubt him on that claim. However, he may have gone from a boy to a man from yesterday, though. From yesteryear. Because he's still stuck in that mindset of, I come home, you have the meal there for me to cook. Because even Lindsey offered some different options. Lindsey said, well, why don't you order, you'll order and she didn't name anything because of branding. She didn't say Hello Fresh or any of those things, but that's kind of what she was talking about. And y'all do it together. Well, I don't have time to teach anybody.
Because he acts like he's like a CEO.
Yeah. And I have to realize, and I recognize my bias with him, I just do not like him. I do not like him, and I do not like him based on his attitude and the way he talks down to her. I hate when guys do that. You can't bring this same attitude talking down to this woman because you feel you're better when you're not. You can't even speak English properly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm aligned with you on that one. But I hate to see a woman, because Katina's a good woman. Does she have some growth to do? Yeah, she's only 29.
Yeah.
So she has some growth to do still, but she's doing it. And she's still successful. She's not 29, I don't think, living at her mama's house, having her parents take care of her. So she's doing all right. But for him to be so judgy, and his house is not like it's this immaculate deal. I mean, I remember that green room of a weight room he has that needs to be remodeled and painted that he thinks is dope. And I'm just like, that looks ugly. Looks terrible. Those blinds, those curtains he had, terrible. So it's not like his house, it looks like a grandma still lived there.
Right. Which, I just thought of something in thinking of him speaking. Can you imagine a conversation with him and Zay from The Ultimatum?
I could. It's just they would only know what each other are talking about. We would. It'd be like their secret language.
All right, let's leave these growing black men alone. We don't want anyone to think that we've muted masculinity.
No,
Mike.
No, wouldn't want that.
Look, so you tell us whether you want us to review next week's episode. I really think. Personally, we'll both take the week off. I don't see watching that episode next week just because it's like, I don't care what everybody else says. They're not going to show us anything new. But you tell us in the comments below. And then one of the things that we were going to tell you, we mentioned it at the beginning of the episode, is that, usually this is the part where we say, Mondays we drop our regular episode. Tuesday we drop the video. Wednesdays we come back for the Married at First Sight recap. But we've had this discussion. You guys have spoken. We've looked at the comments. We've read the comments. We did the ultimatum. But here's the other thing. This weekend marks episode 3 of 90 Day Fiancé season 9. The new season, all new couples except for Biniam from Ethiopia. That's an older couple from before the 90 days or 90 days the other way, right? And all new couples, great way to introduce Terryl to the 90 Day Fiancé universe. He has agreed kicking and screaming to do 90 Day Fiancé. So we're going to start Monday nights. You'll have the episode, the recaps. And what we're going to do is we're going to start. The first one we do is going to recap episodes 1 through 3. And then we'll pick it up from there. The following week, episode 4, episode 5, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct. This is what everybody wanted. So we're going to do it. I've watched episode 1 while I was in the airport today. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, I'm going to have a field day making fun of this show. But yeah, let's just bring it. It's just, I can't wait to talk about Kansas City.
You in the airport like Tom Hanks. You could have watched all, the first 2 episodes and the preview for this week's episode.
I had conference calls too. I was still working. This wasn't a vacation. I was still working, but I had conference calls. But yeah, I can't wait to talk about Kansas City and oh God, the kid with the blonde hair that's living with his parents.
Yeah, well, the guy in Kansas City, he reminds us of somebody. I won't say who, but we'll discuss that Monday night. You get the first recap, 90 Day Fiancé season 9, as we recap episodes 1 through 3. So if you're not caught up, you got till then to get caught up, and let's watch it together and let's have some fun. Join the comments, and of course, unless you make us, we won't be back next Wednesday for the recap of the countdown to Decision Day, but we'll be back in 2 weeks for Decision Day. And hopefully everybody says no. Everybody say no.
I mean, I'm doing 90 Day Fiancé for you guys. You can't just give a brother a Wednesday night off. There's nothing happening on the show. We're just watching other people guesstimate what they think is going to happen for an hour. Yeah. And then we still got to wait another week. So what's the point? But if you all say, hey, we still want to see these 2 handsome faces on Wednesday night, fine. We'll do it.
Hey, I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm just Terryl.
Make sure you follow us at Yonni Rude, at just Terryl, and at RGRTPod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts, some of your bullshit, or more reality shows you want us to watch, and we'll talk about it.
Our life has turned into a reality show, god damn it. It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.